Tweet Nation and send it to me.
Absolutely amazing. Get the PowerPoint up.
Oh.
Great day. How you doing? See you again. Oh, there we go. There go my training. There go my training. We'll get some music going while we get some people in here. Are they coming to rock with me tonight?
School app.
Hey, Shirley. My volume up. My volume at? My volume at? Hey. Are my speakers on?
Of living. Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on. Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, if I'm going to fall, I've told you to make sure you don't want to fall back on anything. Except my faith. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Fall forward. This is what I mean. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because the 1,001st was the light bulb. Remember the home run. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks, and I'm sure you've probably heard that before. You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it. I'm telling you, embrace it, because it's inevitable, and I should know. In the acting business, you fail all the time. Early on in my career, I auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical. Perfect role for me, I thought, except for the fact that I can't sing. I didn't get the job. But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition, and the next audition. I prayed. I prayed. And I prayed. But I continued to fail and fail and fail. But it didn't matter, because you know what? There's an old saying, you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut. So you will catch a break, and I did catch a break. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Les Brown's a motivational speaker. He made an analogy about this. He says, imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes? So you got to get out there. You got to give it everything you got, whether it's your time, your talent, your prayers, or your treasures. So the question is, what are you going to do with what you have? I'm not talking about how much you have. Some of you are business majors. Some of you are theologians, nurses, sociologists. Some of you have money. Some of you have patience. Some of you have kindness. Some of you have love. Some of you have the gift of long suffering, whatever it is, whatever your gift is. What are you going to do with what you have? Sometimes it's the best way to figure out where you're going. Your life will never be a straight path. And I can't think of a better message as we send you off today. To not only take risks, but to be open to life, to accept new views, and to be open to new opinions. Because the chances you take, the people you meet, the people you love, the faith that you have, that's what's going to define you. Never be discouraged. Never hold back. Give everything you got. And when you fall throughout life, and maybe even tonight after a few many glasses of champagne, remember this: fall forward.
All right, welcome to tonight call. And if you ain't hear the message, then I'm gonna let you know the message is all about leadership training, y'all. I feel like it's time for us to know how to deal with leadership, okay? Because leadership is not all about getting praises, not all about, people seeing the glory, okay? As a leader, we got to lead wounded. As a leader, we got to lead when we don't want to show up, right? When we sad, when we bothered, when we are hurting on the inside, when we are grieving on the inside, right? That's leadership. That's the beauty and that's the strength of leadership, right? Being able to not only show up for yourself, but show up for others, right? As a testament of the strength of leadership. Okay. So we're going to do some leadership training tonight, right? This is what some leadership training that we do to build confidence in the role of a leader. Okay. We have a saying here at Complete Taxing Training Software. And that saying is, when you complete, you don't compete. Okay. And that's no matter when you're feeling insecure about your own abilities to lead. We still don't compete, right? We still reach down and find a completeness within us, all right, and help others to do the same. So being a leader is not marked, right, by where you stand, but it is marked by what stands in you. Can you show up, right, in the midst of your own pain, struggles, adversities, right? Will you show up? Okay, because we all can. But the question is, will you dust yourself off, get back up, try again so that you can win again? All right. So we're going to go through some characteristics and skills, right, to build us as a leader. All right, let's go with confidence and competence. When you know what you're doing, you can be confident in your approach. Okay. Confidence flows from preparation and knowledge. So that means we cannot let the outsiders or haters shape our identity, okay? And we can't even let outside circumstances, right, or negative circumstances, right, shape our identity. When we are a leader, we have committed to lead no matter what, okay? Another thing, we have to know our worth. We have to know our brand, and we also have to know our services, okay? When we know how valuable we are, okay, we create that standard of treatment, of respect, right? Of also operations So we know at our very least, when we're feeling our very least, right, we're going to do no harm and we are going to show up, right, and let God do what he do and show out for us, all right? So we stand firm and we're going to defend ourselves and value whenever we need to, y'all. And don't just think it's about people talking. Sometimes you have to defend your value and show up when you need to do, even when, you know, you're going through emotional and spiritual and mental struggles as well. All right, y'all. Also, we must always keep a customer service mindset. And I know y'all heard this all the time. The customer is always right, even when they're wrong. What do you mean, Macy? Sometimes they be wrong. It's not our job to get in a power struggle with them and confront them and be in a conflict with them to let them know they're wrong. It's a way that we can always explain our procedures, our policies, our operational standards, right? Without just blatantly telling them they're wrong, okay, to stir up more anger in them. We need to always be willing to apologize for any miscommunication or any misunderstanding. Remember that great service protects your reputation and builds your loyalty. And in order to succeed in leadership, right, you got to have a team. Because without a team, who are you leading? You got to think about that, all right? So, leaders, you cannot call yourself a leader, right? If you're the only person on your team, all right? You have to build a winning team. And you do that by making sure that you are hiring based off of strengths and attitudes. Winners have both. I work with some great winners and some other great leaders that are on my team, okay? And I'm on their team as well. You want to know if something was to happen, right? Can you call your team? Can you call your fellow leaders and see if they're ready to step up and handle anything that needs to be handled so the business continues to run seamlessly, all right? So you want to train every partner to treat each role like ownership. And I love that about us at CTTS. Everybody is trained to become a leader, right? And when you are in business with someone, you have to know that you are also in business for yourself. Because just like all business, right? If you make money, the business makes money. That's just the business of the world, okay? It don't matter if you're clocking into McDonald's. If McDonald's is not making no sales, then guess what? They're gonna end up having to shut the store down, and that means that can't nobody make no money. So you got to make sure the business make money no matter what your role is in the team, okay? So look for advancement and growth opportunities just like any other owner would, right? So you have to think, what can I do to build a community and team that I'm in, all right, to show that I'm valuable? Because not only are your mentors or the other leaders around you looking at it, right? You got some mentees, you got some people who is inspired and aspiring to be just like you. So you need to always be advancing yourself, looking for opportunities to grow, just like an owner would, all right? Preparation. That's what I call that. Let's go into some leadership fundamentals. You have to pay attention to the basics to know your business fundamentals, all right? Each of us should have some fundamentals set in our business. I don't care if it's the tax business. I don't care if you sell life insurance. I don't care if you out here, you know, selling knockoff clothes or real clothes or doing hair white. You should have some business fundamentals that your company is built upon in your leadership, all right? Every day, you should be asking yourself, how can I improve my performance, okay? You should be challenging yourself and your team to constantly break boundaries, okay? And understand that principles will always triumph over policies. There's going to come a time, then yes, the policy, the black and white, yes, it's right. But it's going to be some things that we're going to have to be able to bend when it comes to just the principles of it, right? We know our policies say at CTTS, hey, it's $2,500 for this program, $1,500 for this program, $5,000 for this program, but we also know where we come from, okay? And sometimes we might have to bend our policy, right? Just because of the principle, right? And knowing that, hey, we gonna have to build some people now and build them later. So that can be a prime example, right? When principles will triumph over policies, okay? And you always have to remember this. Winners do what losers aren't willing to do. All losers that I know complain. All losers I know make excuses, right? And all winners I know, we defy odds. We show up no matter what. Okay, we're determined to be consistent. We're determined, you know what I'm saying, to continue to practice discipline, right? So winners do what losers aren't willing to do. You can best believe a loser is always going to look for the next excuse for a reason why they don't have to show up, right, and do what a leader do, and that's win. Balance and integrity. Listen, I don't know if you got God, but we all need God, okay? Listen, we can't be chasing the tangible blessings, right? Without chasing the blesser. We always got to seek God first. And I even tell my team, right? You know, it's God first. That's why we wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. every morning with our ladies. And we are praying, we are acknowledging God, we are accepting our power, we are operating in our purpose, because we know those two P's are going to lead us to the profit, all right? So we know that we got to have our mind, spirit, and emotional state on 10 if we really want to win, okay? So you got to understand that. So and you need to play to win, even when you don't always win. I have always been taught nothing beats a failure but a try. And as long as you're trying, you're not failing. And I have always had it in my mindset that success was inevitable, right? That's not an option for me, because I gotta make it. There's no other option. I'm not living like this. I'm not staying in the hood, right? I'm not gonna grow up with rats and roaches. You know what I'm saying? I might be born into this, but I know no way the people on TV gonna live a life, right? No way the people next door or across the side of town, because I'm on the south side, the north side people get to live better than me, right? I can go out and be exactly what I desire to be, as long as I get around the right people that can tell me how I can do this, right? Because I knew I didn't know how to do it, because my mom ain't did it, my dad ain't did it, my sister, brother, cousins ain't did it. So I knew I had to get around the who's to tell me how to get the life I desire to live, okay? So another thing, you need to be honest. We need to always show respect, and we need to walk in integrity, okay? That means we're going to do the right thing whether somebody looking. We're going to show up and do the right thing whether somebody clapping or not, right? We are going to show up, right? And we're going to operate in excellence. You know, those are non-negotiables. As a leader, we must learn to trust and verify, okay? So with our team, with people that we're doing business with, whether it's just any of our constituents, right? And even our relationships, right? We need to trust people, but there's nothing wrong with verifying. And we also need people to trust us, but verify us too, because information is constantly changing. Information is constantly evolving, right? So if I checked, last time I verified some information was last week, we don't know what could have changed or what, you know, the situation could be, right? So we need to be trusting and verifying, all right? So we want to start the story. We want to find out what happened, all right? And we don't want to believe everything we hear, okay? Well, we can trust it, but we still need to get some verification. So there's nothing wrong with asking people for proof. There's nothing wrong with anybody asking you to show proof, because if the truth, it shouldn't need no defense, and the proof should be there in black and white, okay? So when you're building your leadership team, or when you're building your community as a leader, we want to make sure that we're building a culture of transparency and accountability, right? And as people become more trustworthy, okay, you can give them more of your business. You can give them more of you, right? To be accountable of. Because when people give us their information, when people, whether it's data, right? Whether it's a confidential call, right? Whether it's, you know, love, money, whatever, right? But whenever somebody gives us something, right, we are now accountable for that, okay? Especially if we receive it. Now, sometimes you can say, hey, I don't want it. That's not your responsibility, then. But if you take whatever somebody's giving, whether it's a conversation, a transaction, right? Anything, something tangible or intangible. We now, as leaders, right, have become responsible for that. And we also have accountability on that, okay? So you want to build that culture of transparency and accountability and only take what you are willing to be accountable of, all right? And always, no matter what you're receiving, you want to trust but verify that it's accurate, all right? Let's go into the management philosophy. We want to listen to those who deal with the customers daily. A lot of us as leaders, right, when we start to recruit and build our team, we're not going to always be the first person that touch a client, be the first person that touch a potential customer, right? Be the first person that follow up on a lead, okay? So it's important for us, right, even as the leaders, to listen closely to those who are dealing with these encounters daily, all right? And know that listening won't make you inferior. It actually makes you wiser, okay? Because now you have intel on what's going on within your community, within your business, right? That you're not actually touching, that you can go build the system or the procedure or make a protocol, right? So that you can address it. And you want to make sure that you are empowering your team to share ideas and to create solutions, okay? Because I was even told this the other day about Mark, right? Just because this works good for you that way doesn't mean that it's going to work good for me that way, all right? So that let me know that with this managed philosophy, right? Yes, I may teach it this way, and this may be the way that I work it, okay? But that's not going to be the only way that it can get worked. And as long as they're getting it done, right, with integrity, right, and great balance, I should be okay with letting them manage and create that solution that works best for them. All right. So managers who listen most will win the most. Let's talk about negotiation and communication. We need to find out what motivates people and what they need. Many times, right, we talk too much. We get to talking about all what we can do, you know what I'm saying, what we have to offer, right? And that person might be like, that's fine, but I don't need none of that, right? Sometimes person might just love and say, you know what? I don't need none of this, but I do want to be connected with other, you know, successful women in prayer. So that alone may be what they need. So it's important to find out what motivates people and to find out what they need to know if you can even fill that void for them, okay? Because sometimes what they need is not what you offer, okay? And sometimes, you know, you may be presenting something because 90% of the people want this or need this, right? But this one, you know, this other 10%, they might want something else and you may have that. You just don't advertise it. So lead with an open mind. Don't make or verbalize assumptions. And understand even when you have a disagreement, it still can be healthy because that what drives innovation. And if we always agree, one of us is going to be useless, okay? One of us is going to be useless. So make sure that you have that negotiation and communication open within your community, within your business, okay? Managing people. You can't teach attitudes, but you can teach skills, right? And I see so many people hire on skills, but forget the characteristics of a leader or a good worker, all right? And so they got somebody who's highly skilled, right? But they're piss poor emotionally, mentally, morally, right? And they're like, oh, they're a good worker. But man, they can kill the morale of the best team. So it's very important that you watch people's attitudes, how they're acting when you have to correct them, how they're acting, right, when you are giving somebody else more praises than them, okay? How they're acting when a customer disagrees with them, okay? Or another coworker disagrees with them, all right? Remember, attitude you can't teach, but skills you can. Whenever you're hiring, right, and looking for people to be on your team, ask these type of probing questions during interviews. It's okay to make the person that want to be a part of your team and community, right, uncomfortable. If people are not uncomfortable with you, sometimes that just lets me know that you are a people pleaser, all right, and not a people's leader. So also request references for those people that they say they have managed or worked with. You have to check a person background, okay? Let me go study you. Let me find out the type of friends you hang around, because that matters. Their friends, their associates will pollute a situation very fast, okay? You'll be pouring your all into somebody and you'll wonder why when they with you, they good, and when they turn back, they ain't, okay? And it's all because of their environment that they're still in, all right? So request references from those that they manage and also that they are associated with, okay? And also learn what attributes they value in other past leaders, because you're not going to be the only mentor or the only manager or the only supervisor that they run across, okay? You ask them, hey, tell me about your last person that you looked up to, right? What made you stop talking to them or start working with them, right? Because a lot of times people like that, they just cannot handle discipline. They just don't want leadership. They want to be amongst leaders. They want the title, but they don't want the responsibility, okay? So it's important when you're vetting, right, that you have that discernment and you reference past mistakes and past relationships, okay, so that you can make an informed decision when managing people and choosing people to be on your team. Let's talk about 4 different types of team members, okay, so that you can easily identify who you want and who you shouldn't work with. So type 1, you share the values. They share values with you and they deliver numbers, right? So these are the people that we want to keep and look to promote on our team. People that share your values and also has the work ethic like you want to keep those people. You want to work with those people. You want to grow and promote those people, right? Type 2, they share values, but they miss numbers. These people can be coached. These people can be developed, right? Mind you, now you see the value that we're putting on values, y'all, because that matters, okay? Type 3, they got poor performance and poor values, okay? We want to replace them as fast as we place them, all right? We don't want to try to work with these people. We see they got poor values and they got poor performance. We don't got time to try to coach these people. We don't got time to try to develop these people. These type of people, I'm sorry, they have just missed the bare minimum fundamentals of life, all right? We need to send them back to their maker, right? They need to go back and, and pray to God. They need to go back and get some healing or, or something, but we ain't got time for that as business owners, right? We need as many turnkey people as possible so that we can grow as fast, right, as possible so that we can enjoy the fruits of our labor longer. That's just the truth. The type 4 type of person, they deliver numbers, but they don't share values. So these people, they can make the money. They can go out and get the sales. They can do all of this, right? But they got bad values. These are the type of person I talked about earlier. You have to remove these people because they destroy your workplace culture. They're going to destroy your peace, right? And you can't have that because you know what happens when rotten fruit touch good fruit. Okay? It turns the good people bad, all right? You know a negative is going to always turn a positive negative, all right? Learning how to build ownership culture. When you're building your company, you want to look for potential owners, not just employees, right? Who has that characteristic, of ownership? Who already is operating in ownership, but just needs some guidance, right? Just needs some structure, just needs some discipline, right? Just need a little mentorship. That's what you want to look for. Other owners, right? People that remind you of you, not just employees who will work the business, because you're going to constantly be hiring and rehiring, hiring and rehiring. And that's okay at the lower level, but at the core level of your executive team, right? You need other owners, other people that will take accountability, other people that's going to show up. You need those people who are going to see the bigger picture. You're going to see those people who love to create teams and want to empower others to transform their lives, all right? Those are the type of people that you want to build with. And those are really going to be the only people that you can build with, okay? So we're on challenge and reflection. How can you challenge yourself and your team this upcoming season, whether it's tax season, whether it's just your winning season or whatever you got going on in life, right? But how can you challenge yourself and your team this season? Come off mute. Get in the chat. Y'all be quiet. Don't be quiet. Because I showed up tonight after I got an emergency call about my mom. I'm still here, so y'all got to talk to me. So how are you going to challenge yourself and your team this season? Because tonight was a challenge for me to show up no matter what, because I already lost one parent, right? And my mama been sick over half of my life. So to hear that she just got rushed to the hospital, right? That's very disturbing right before the call, right? Very disturbing. So to me, tonight was a challenge, right? To show my team that no matter what, I can't do nothing about it. I can't do nothing about it, right? So why wouldn't I show up? She's still alive. There's still hope, right? There's still plenty enough time for God to do exactly what he always do and have done, right? So why wouldn't I challenge myself to show up and to be a great example of leadership, right? And inspiration for my team. Time management and consistency. All right, that's great. That's great. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Now, think about this. What will you do differently to build confidence and competence? What can you do and what will you do differently to build confidence and competence in your team? I know for me and mine, we make sure that we have our weekly marketing, branding, operations meeting. We have our sales team meeting, right? We have check-ins with each other, okay? We have also made we've even got even more structure that now we have clear reflection so they can tell me even, right? As the CEO, make sure this is what we need. And I always ask them daily, what do I owe you, right? And that gives them the confidence to come to me and say whatever they need to do, right? Or to implement whatever they need, all right? And then I make sure that they have everything that they need competent-wise so they can understand how the system, how the company is running. I have to, open up and let them know, hey, this is how we make money. This is what costs us money. So we can all be on one accord, right? Because all of that matters. Invest in ongoing learning, all right? And then not just any type of learning, right? You want to invest in the learning that actually benefits you, right? Because we want to learn the right things from the right people, right? That are leading in the areas of life that we want to win in. The first question, get more organized and disciplined in planning and execution. I love this. Listen, I'm going to have to get everybody this book, huh? I'm going to have to make more copies because I'm rolling it out to the team. This is called a 90-day planner for high performers. I'm gonna have to put a picture in there, but it's a high performer 90-day planner, right? And it's only for the elite. I'm telling you, me and the team, we keep on telling y'all time, we on 16-hour days. We start at 5 a.m., right, being productive all the way up to 9 p.m. to make sure that we are focusing on our competence of our operations, right? That we're understanding our clients, right? That we are serving our constituents in the best manner. Staying consistent and showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. Amen, Ebony. That's what I'm saying. That's what we got to do. And I just want to remind y'all that we can never outwork God. And y'all got to know that every time we wake up and plant a seed, every time we wake up and water a seed, right? We can never plant and water more than what God can grow. You get what I'm saying? So that's just more you're adding to your garden. So keep on doing it, right? And many of us have kids, right? So you got to understand that we are planting strong roots that are going to be here long after us, that our kids are going to enjoy the fruits of our labor, just as many of us, even if, it's not something tangible, right? we get to enjoy the fruits of our parents or our ancestral labor. All right. Consistency is big. Consistency is key. Do y'all have any questions for me in regards to leadership, in regards to building your business, in regards to anything, learning how to win over anything in life? If you don't know, I'm also a certified life purpose coach, right? I'm also a mental and behavioral health therapist as well. So, yes, I'm an accredited investor. Yes, I'm an industry leader when it comes to taxes and finance, right? But I wear many hats, many successful hats, right? And I have mastered those. And I love to help people to win over whatever challenges they feel in their life that may be holding them back. Am I still sharing? Oh, I wasn't sharing at all. Can y'all see my screen? Y'all see my screen? Yes. Oh, well, I don't know how to stop sharing. Ain't that something? That's mind-boggling. Huh. Oh, well, I was trying to make myself big. I wanted to look at myself. Up top? Ah! See? Listen now. I'm a little sad now, okay? I'm a little sad, but I'm here. All right. So I'm done sharing my screen. We back. Do anybody want to say anything? Did y'all learn something? Did y'all learn something? Somebody
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
okay, somebody but let me know at least one thing they learned before I let y'all go. What's the one question people never ask you that they should? And what's your top focus that created your biggest shift in your elevation? Oh, wow. I feel like the one question that people never ask me that they should is because people always want to know how to get money, right? But people need to ask me what to do with the money, how not to lose the money. So I wish people cared about more of what to do with and how not to lose the money when I teach them to get it. Because it seems like everybody that I work with are hustlers, right? So y'all ain't got no problem with working for the money. You just need to know, you want to know just how to get the money, right? But nobody asked me, Macy, how do I not lose the money? Okay. Because I have lost millions. All right. So I think that's and still got millions, but I still want people, I want people to ask me that, be more concerned of how can I be a better steward, right, of the wealth that I want to create. And my thing was to get around those type of people who got that type of wealth already. So when you make the money, hurry up and put yourself in a network of people who got that money and got more money than that, right? Because then you get to learn so many different wealth preserving techniques, okay? Whether it's investments into different retirement plans, whether it's investment into DVD repair plans, right? Whether it's investment into multifamily housings, whether it's liquidity funds, whether it's hedge fund groups, right? So those are the type of things, right? Because and then you'll also learn this, giving out the money to people, right? It's not going to help you. It's not going to help you when that tax bill comes because you still got to pay taxes on that money, right? So those are the type of things that people need to ask, like, I'm planning on coming into this money, Macy. I want to know how to make $1 million, but I also want to know, right? I want to have my wealth advisor already on standby, right? So I can already have an idea of the type of investments that I'm going to make that are going to help me to save on my tax liability from earning this money, right? But also help me to preserve this money as well, all right? So I wish people would ask me that. And what's your top focus that created the biggest shift in your elevation? My top focus that created the biggest shift for me was actually my daughter, because Taylor didn't ask to be here and I was a teenage mom and all I was thinking like, dang. And it used to be like, I got to get this money for her. But then as she got older and I started looking like, oh my gosh, like this girl want to do dance. This girl want to, cheer. I got to show up. So I needed freedom. That means I needed time and money. So I shifted from saying I gotta work and earn W-2 money. And so I gotta create jobs. I gotta create opportunities, right? I gotta create businesses that will allow me and allot me my time, okay, and also allow me to make money with other people. I have always said that, hey, I'll take 10% of the watermelon over 100% of the grape any day, okay? So that made me shift my focus, right? Of wanting to keep the money, all myself wanting to, say, hey, I got this, I got this. And it came to me creating an ecosystem of family, right? That can not only help support my dream and grow, but I can do the same for them, right? And now, even in the midst of that, now I have blessed my daughter with so many extra aunts and uncles of this world, okay, that are, career driven, that are God fearing, right? And I get to share that with my daughter, and they get to share that love back with my daughter, and that's something that I didn't have growing up, right? And I built that whole culture around her, and that's all she's surrounded by. Great, high performing, driven men and women. So she had no other option than to be motivated, right? She didn't get to see the darkness or nothing. So that was my top focus, and what really created my biggest shifts in my elevation. Stop worrying about myself and start thinking about how I can build something bigger than me, right? To outlive me, and that can benefit not only me, but my generation to come and other people generations as well. So it's amazing. My daughter got so many cousins through so many other people's children, right? And that's good because I come from a dysfunctional family, I don't have those tight knit relationships with my actual families, right? But I have been blessed with sisters and brothers, right? Through other people, through other mothers and other fathers. So I'm very grateful for that. And I get to share that, with my daughter. So those are great questions. I heard that it's such a blessing. Is the best part about this entire process. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you to answer my question. Do anybody else have any questions? Is there anything else that I can share with you? I love to operate in transparency, y'all. There is nothing that I feel like I go through because of me. I know that I'm strengthened and clothed, with God's grace, mercy, strength, everything, right? Protection to help other people just like me to get through situations, okay? Are we good? If we good, somebody give me some hearts. Like, I done had enough fire today. I done put out enough fires today. I need some love. So y'all give me some love and let me know we all good. We all peaches and cream. And then, God will bless y'all night. God gonna bless my night. We gonna be all good. And I'm gonna see all my women in the morning at 5:15 a.m. We gonna show up, right? We gonna show out, and God gonna do what He do best, right? All right. Love y'all. Good night. Thank y'all for being on here with me.